Nowhere to run to, bitch. You think you can mess with my boyfriend and get away with it?
What are you talking about?
Hey, Sky. You got lucky, little slut. See you tomorrow.
Here, just go to the car. I'll be there in a minute. You're scary. How about this? You mind your own business and leave all the other kids alone. That was easy. Not so tough now, are you? And if I hear that you're messing with someone, or if you even look at my sister, you know what I'm gonna do to you? Good.
17 years ago, a teenage girl decided to keep her baby and gave birth to a little girl. But right after the birth, her parents took the child away and put her up for adoption.
No, rest. You need your
Where's my
strength.
baby?
Where's my baby? It's time.
20 years later, that same girl is now Laura. She has grown up, built a life, and has a family of her own. One day, Laura is having lunch with her husband, Michael, and their daughter, Skylar, when a young girl suddenly shows up at their door. The girl claims she has the wrong address and leaves.
I'm looking for the Andersons. I must have the wrong house.
Still, something about it doesn't feel right to Laura. She feels like the girl made the whole thing up, especially since the family name she mentioned doesn't exist in their neighborhood. Skylar jokes about it, saying maybe the girl is a serial killer who will come back later. The next day, the girl returns. This time, she tells Laura the truth. She's her daughter.
You are Mrs. Laura Parker, formerly Laura Bishop. I'm your daughter.
She introduces herself as Bree. Laura is completely shocked and overwhelmed with emotion, struggling to even respond. Bree explains that she was adopted by the Hogan family, who already had another daughter before taking her in. When Laura asks how she found her, Bree says there's an organization that helps adopted children track down their biological parents. Laura begins to explain her side of the story. She says she didn't want an abortion, but she was too young at the time, and the decision to give Bree up was made. She starts to think about introducing Bree to Michael and Skylar, and Bree seems genuinely happy at the idea of meeting her sister. Before leaving, Laura opens up emotionally and admits that it was actually her parents who forced the adoption without her agreement, something she has never been able to forgive.
My parents did that without my consent, and I never forgave them for that.
The following day, while Michael is at work talking with his coworker, Gareth, he suddenly gets a call from Laura and rushes home. When he arrives, detectives are there with terrible news. Laura's parents have been found dead due to carbon monoxide poisoning caused by a broken furnace pipe. The detective mentions that there's a possibility it might not have been an accident. When asked if anyone might have wanted to harm them, Laura says she hasn't spoken to her parents in nearly 20 years and has no idea. After the detectives leave, Laura doesn't seem deeply upset by the news. Instead, she almost feels like their deaths are taking attention away from what should be a happy moment, reuniting with her long-lost daughter. Meanwhile, Skylar is both excited and nervous about meeting her sister. She wonders why Bri would go looking for her biological mother if she was happy with her adoptive family. But Laura says it's probably just curiosity, something many adopted children feel. Soon, Bri arrives and is introduced to Michael and Skylar. Michael asks about her background, and Bri shares that she graduated from Memorial High School, which is only about half an hour away. She talks about how happy she is to finally meet her biological mother. Michael invites her to stay for dinner, and everyone seems happy with the idea. Skylar starts to warm up to Bree and likes her nails. Bree offers to teach her and asks Laura if they can go up to Skylar's room. While painting her nails, the two talk about school, relationships, and the usual teenage things like not telling parents about boyfriends. At one point, Bree says she's always wanted a sister. This confuses Skylar since Bree already has one. Bree quickly clarifies. She means a sister by blood. Michael calls them down for dinner. During the meal, he asks Bree how her adoptive parents felt about her meeting her biological mother. Bree says they understood and were supportive.
They're supportive.
Out of nowhere, Skylar asks who will pick her up from school the next day since her parents will be busy. Bree offers to do it, and both Skylar and Laura are happy with the idea. Michael, however, is clearly uncomfortable and later shares his worries with Laura. The next day at school, Skylar is approached by a girl who bullies her, accusing her of getting involved with her boyfriend.
You think you can mess with my boyfriend and get away with it?
What are you talking about?
Just then, Bree arrives and the girl backs off. After hearing that the bullying has been going on for a while, Bree tells Skylar to wait in the car. She then faces the girl directly, teaches her a lesson, and warns her to stay away from Skylar.
That was easy. Not so tough now, are you? And if I hear that you're messing with someone, or if you even look at my sister, you know what I'm gonna do to you? Good.
That night, Michael talks about his unease about Bree's sudden appearance in their lives. He feels like they don't really know her, and worries about what she might be capable of. Laura, on the other hand, wants to welcome her as part of the family. She feels guilty about the past and believes Bree deserves a place in their lives. The situation gets worse when the bully's father shows up at their house, furious and demanding answers about what happened to his daughter. When Skylar comes downstairs, Bree steps in, calm but firm. She explains that his daughter has been bullying Skylar and that she only warned her to stop. She even apologizes if she seemed too harsh. Somehow, her presence alone is enough to make the man back down and leave. Laura is impressed and even proud of Bree for protecting her sister. Later, Michael invites Gareth over for a barbecue to celebrate Laura reconnecting with Bree. Gareth is curious about Bree and her sudden appearance, so he starts looking into her background online. At the party, Michael reveals that he asked a company lawyer to look into the organization Bree mentioned. The lawyer warns that it might be working illegally, possibly encouraging people to break privacy laws tied to adoption agreements. Laura, however, doesn't seem concerned. She's just happy to have found her daughter. Gareth eventually arrives and chats with the guests before heading to the bar for drinks. He runs into Bree and suddenly tells her that he knows more about her than she's shared with the family. He hints that she hasn't been entirely honest and seems ready to use that information against her.
But you've not been completely honest with your new family, have you?
Have you told anyone?
Not yet.
Thank you.
After handing drinks to the lawyer, Gareth excuses himself to use the bathroom, but finding it taken, he steps outside to use the yard. Moments later, Bree appears behind him, and without hesitation, she kills him with a rock. Afterward, Bree returns to the party where Laura introduces her to the lawyer and his wife. When Michael tries to introduce her to his coworker, Gareth, Bree casually mentions that she has already met him. She then politely steps away, saying she needs to help Skylar with something. As the evening goes on, Michael starts feeling uneasy about Bree. Something about her sudden arrival doesn't sit right with him. He quietly asks the lawyer to run a background check on her, stressing that he wants it kept completely secret from Laura. To him, everything about Bree feels a little too perfect and he can't ignore his concern for his family's safety. Once the party ends, Skylar and Bree head inside to help Laura clean up. Not long after, detectives arrive and ask to speak with Michael privately. Bree notices this right away. Outside in the yard, the detectives tell Michael that Laura's parents' deaths were not accidental. A neighbor reported seeing a young woman visit them on the day they died, although they couldn't clearly identify her. One of the detectives briefly checks a nearby shed but doesn't find anything. They continue questioning Michael, confirming that Laura hasn't been in contact with her parents for nearly 20 years, which he says is true as far as he knows. The detectives leave, but their doubt remains. When Michael comes back inside, Bree says she has to leave and won't be able to come for dinner as planned. Laura and Skylar are still happy about the time they spent with her, especially Skylar, who is growing closer to Bree. As Bree quickly drives away, it becomes clear that the detectives are watching the house from outside, now even more sure that something is being hidden. That night, as Laura is getting ready for bed, Michael asks if Bree knows anything about her parents. Laura says yes, she told Bree about the adoption. Still, she ends the conversation, clearly unwilling to bring up the past, brushing aside Michael's concerns. The next day, Michael tries calling Gareth, but there's no answer, so he leaves a voicemail. Soon after, the lawyer arrives with the results of the background check. Everything seems to match Bree's story. She was adopted by the Hogan family in 1996 and attended Memorial High School, just as she said. There's nothing suspicious on record. Meanwhile, in Skylar's room, she asks Bree if her sister minds her spending so much time away. Bree explains that she isn't close with her sister. According to her, her sister Jessica grew jealous because their parents treated Bree like their own child and favored her. This led Jessica to act out for attention. Bree adds that Jessica has mental health issues and was eventually placed in a mental institution. She doesn't want to talk about it any further. When Bree steps away to the bathroom, Skylar asks if she can grab nail polish from her bag. While looking, she finds a ring with the name Eleanor carved into it, which catches her attention. Later, Laura brings up the idea of giving Bree her own room, but wants to discuss it first with Michael and Skylar. She expects them to be happy about it, but instead, their reaction surprises her. Skylar suddenly asks about her grandmother's name. Laura answers that it was Eleanor and wonders why she's asking. Skylar says Bree didn't mention it. When Laura returns to the topic of the room, Skylar disagrees, saying it feels too soon. Laura is clearly hurt and emotional. Alone in her room, Skylar's suspicion grows. She starts searching for information about the Hogan family. The next day, she finds their address and decides to visit. There, she meets Elizabeth Hogan, Bree's adoptive mother, and introduces herself as Bree's half-sister. Elizabeth welcomes her inside. At the same time, one of the detectives returns to Michael's house. When no one answers the door, he checks around the side yard. As he looks through a bin and walks past a shed, he notices blood. Inside, he discovers Gareth's body. Just as he reaches for his phone, Bree suddenly appears and kills him. Back at the Hogan house, Skylar explains everything. How Bree showed up at their home, claiming to be Laura's biological daughter. Elizabeth is surprised, saying that they had no idea Bree was searching for her biological mother. That explains why Bree had been going out more often than usual. Elizabeth describes Bree as private, but also honest and grown up. When Skylar asks about Jessica, it turns out Bree was telling the truth. Jessica no longer lives with them and did struggle with jealousy. Elizabeth shows Skylar a photo of Bree and Jessica together. For a moment, Skylar feels relieved, thinking maybe she was wrong, but then Bree walks into the house and something feels off. To Skylar, she suddenly seems like a completely different person. Everyone is confused, especially since Skylar and Bree are supposed to know each other. Skylar asks Mrs. Hogan which one in the photo is Jessica. When Mrs. Hogan points to Bree, "That's our daughter Jessica." Everything makes sense. Shocked, Skylar runs out to her car. Meanwhile, Laura returns home and notices a detective's car outside. Inside the house, Bree, now revealed to be Jessica, is washing blood off her hands. She hears Laura calling out and suddenly attacks her, knocking her unconscious with a vase. At the same time, Skylar tries calling her mom, leaving a voicemail warning her about Bree's real identity, but it's already too late. Laura wakes up tied to a chair, still believing Bree is upset about being given up for adoption. Jessica finally reveals the truth. She explains that all she ever wanted was her parents' love, but they gave it all to Bree instead. That's when Laura realizes this isn't Bree, it's Jessica. Jessica blames Laura, saying that if she hadn't given her child away, Jessica would have been the only daughter and received all the love. Just then, Skylar arrives home and faces Jessica, telling her she went to the Hogan house and knows everything. Jessica attacks her, and the two fight hard. Skylar manages to push her away and quickly unties Laura. Jessica gets back up and grabs Skylar again, trying to choke her. Laura steps in just in time and knocks Jessica unconscious. Moments later, Michael arrives with the police and Jessica is arrested. At the hospital, a detective explains that Jessica has been in and out of institutions for years, and now she's back where she belongs. After the detective leaves, Laura finally meets her real daughter, Bree. Filled with emotion, she apologizes. Bree in turn thanks her for choosing to give her life instead of ending the pregnancy. In the final scene, Jessica is back in the institution, but even there, she continues pretending to be Bree.
I'm Bree.
If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more exciting and entertaining movie summaries.